Atlantropa, the colossal 1920s plan to dam the Mediterranean Sea and create a supercontinent. This is by Ricardo Vidal, lecturer, visual culture, cultural history, King's College London. Egyptian billionaire Naguib Sawiris recently announced plans to buy a Greek island to give refugees of the Middle East and Africa a country of their own. Though Sawiris referred to his proposal as a crazy idea, quote unquote, on Twitter, it pales in comparison to an earlier scheme for the Mediterranean from the first half of the 20th century, which was seriously considered by heads of state and at one point even the United Nations. It was called Atlantropa and would have involved the partial draining of the Mediterranean Sea and the creation of a Euro-Africa supercontinent. Now we know that would change the fishing in the Mediterranean Sea. The fish in the Mediterranean Sea, in my opinion, is of the most beautiful fish in the world. And I've eaten fish in Scotland, Canada, the United States, and of course the Mediterranean. And it's very delicious. And we asked the fishermen and the people that owned fishing tavernas, why are they so delicious? And they said it has to be because of the sun and the water. But anyway, Atlantropa was the brainchild of the German architect Hermann Sorgel, who tirelessly promoted his project from 1928 until his death in 1952. His experience of World War I, the economic and political turmoil of the 1920s, and the rise of Germany convinced Sorgel that a new world order could only be avoided if a radical solution was found to European problems of unemployment, overpopulation, and with Saudi oil still a decades away, an impending energy crisis. With little faith in politics, Sorgel turned to technology. Dams across the Strait of Gibraltar, the Dardanelles, that's from the North Aegean Sea towards Turkey. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. So it would be here in the Gibraltar to the 7 o'clock position, and then between Sicily and North Africa in the middle, and then over there on the 1 o'clock position, North Aegean Sea towards Turkey. There would be 3 huge dams according to his plan. So the dams across Strait of Gibraltar, Dardanelles, and Sicily and Tunisia, each containing gigantic hydroelectric power plants that form the basis of the new supercontinent. In its final state, the Mediterranean would be converted into 2 basins, with the western part lowered by 100 meters, that's 300 feet, and the eastern part by 200 meters, that's 600 feet, a total of 660,200 square kilometers of new land reclaimed from the sea, an area larger than France. Later plans for Atlantropa also included 2 dams across the Congo River and the creation of a Chad and Congo Sea, which Sorgel hoped would have a moderating influence on the African climate, making it more pleasant for European settlers. In line with the colonial and racist attitudes of the time, Sorgel envisaged Africa with its resources and its land to be entirely at the disposal of Europe, a continent with plenty of space to accommodate Europe's huddled masses. Africa, that is. And we have a map here showing exactly the reclaimed land in red, and the 3 circles on Gibraltar, Sicily, Tunisia, and Istanbul, showing you exactly what would be taking place. Now, while Sorgel's proposal may sound absurd to our ears, it was taken seriously by architects, engineers, politicians, and journalists at that time. The extensive Atlantropa archive in the Deutsche Museum in Munich abounds with architectural drawings for new cities, the dams and bridges of the future continent, as well as letters of support and hundreds of articles about the project, which appeared in the German and international popular press, as well as in specialized engineering and geographical magazines. What made Atlantropa so attractive was his vision of world peace, achieved not through politics and diplomacy, but with a simple technological solution. Atlantropa would be held together by a vast energy net, which would extend from the gigantic hydroelectric plant in the Gibraltar Dam and provide the entirety of Europe and Africa with electricity. The power plant would be overseen by an independent body who would have the power to switch off the energy supply to any individual country that posed a threat to peace. Moreover, Sorgil calculated that the construction of the supercontinent would require each country to invest so much money and people power that none would have sufficient resources to finance a war. Putting his faith in the people of Europe and their desire for peace, Sorgil dedicated the large part of his work to the promotion and dissemination of the project through the popular press, radio programs, films, talks, exhibitions, and even poetry and Atlantropa symphony. He hoped popular support would help him get the backing of politicians. Unsurprisingly, in the eyes of his contemporaries, the required collaboration between nation states always appeared even more utopian than the vast technological dimensions of Atlantropa. As the New York-based magazine UN World observed in 1948, harnessing Gibraltar for mankind's good does sound like a dream, but in this 20th century, no dream, not even that of cooperation among nations, is quite impossible, it said. By 2012, when the European Union was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in acknowledgement of its contribution to lasting peace in Europe, the hope expressed by the UN World appeared to finally have come true. However, in 2015, cooperation among nations sadly looks like a distant dream once again. Where once Hermann Sorgil had used the image of a Europe bursting at the seams that is saved by a peaceful merger with the African continent, we are now confronted with the mirror image as people from across Africa and Middle East seek refuge in Europe. And now would be the time to prove that the Peace Prize was indeed deserved. Now would be the time to show solidarity and unity, and instead the EU appears to be on the brink of being torn apart over its inability to find a communal solution to accommodate a group of refugees whose number ultimately comes to no more than a meager 0.11% of the overall population of the Union. Sadly, European unity, and with a solution for the refugee crisis, once again appears more utopian than Sorgil's plan for draining the Mediterranean Sea. So the central feature, to build the hydroelectric dam across the Strait of Gibraltar, generating enormous amounts of hydroelectricity, would have led to the lowering of the surface of the Mediterranean Sea by up to 200 meters, 660 feet, opening up large new lands for settlement, such as the Adriatic Sea. Project proposed 4 additional major dams as well, across the Dardanelles to hold back the Black Sea, between Sicily and Tunisia, to provide a roadway and lower the inner Mediterranean further, and on the Congo River, known as the Quash River, tributary to refill the mega Chad Basin around Lake Chad, to provide fresh water to irrigate the Sahara and create a shipping lane to the interior of Africa. There was Suez Canal extension and locks to maintain a Red Sea connection. Then now the thing is, how would shipping continue throughout the Mediterranean? If you had dams cutting the Mediterranean into 2 basins, obviously that's not going to work. And other problems arise. Now, active support was limited to architects and planners from Germany and a number of other, primarily Northern European countries. So basically, Germany wanted to be the main architect and engineer of this plan once it was to be implemented. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. This is from Wikipedia and The Conversation.